I'm about to show you how to make the design you see getting stitched out here on my embroidery machine. It's called the Fall Fantasy Runner, and it's our September monthly sew-along project. In this tutorial, I'll guide you step by step so you can create your own. Thanks so much for tuning in. In this video, I'll be showing you how to stitch out one of the pumpkin blocks on your embroidery machine. And you'll actually need to make 2 of these for the project. We'll start by hooping up some cutaway stabilizer nice and smooth in the hoop. For trimming along the way, it's best to use double curved applique scissors since they make it easier to get in close to the stitches without snipping into them. Once that's ready, place batting 1 on top of the hoop and stitch it down. After it's secure, take the hoop out of the machine so you can carefully trim the batting back to about 1 to 2 millimeters from the stitching line. Next, we'll move on to fabric A. Place it right side up over the placement line, then stitch it down. At this point, if you'd like to reduce a bit of bulk, you can also trim out the center of the pumpkin. From there, the machine will stitch placement lines for the outer pumpkin sections. So go ahead and place fabric B right side up to cover those lines. Stitch it down and trim away the extra. We'll follow the same applique process for the middle pumpkin sections using fabric C. And then again for the center pumpkin section with fabric D. Once those are in place, the machine will go ahead and embroider the shaded section at the top of the pumpkin. After that, it's time for the satin stitching, beginning with the outer sections, then moving on to the middle, and finally the center. When that's complete, the design will add in the decorative elements, starting with the floral motifs on the center pumpkin section. followed by the quilting across the middle. And finishing with the floral motifs on the outer pumpkin. Once all of that stitching is done, remove the block from the hoop and trim your seams back to about 1/2 inch. Then just set it aside until you've made the rest of your blocks or panels. And that's it, your pumpkin block is complete and ready to go. Congratulations on stitching out all of your blocks. I bet you're admiring your work as I speak, and you should be, because I bet they look fantastic. Now that you have everything ready, let's put the runner together. Start by laying out your blocks in order, with the long sides lined up neatly. Take the first 2 blocks and place them right sides together, carefully matching up the seams. You can pin them, use quilt clips, or even just hold them in place with your hands, whatever works best for you. Next, head over to your sewing machine and stitch along the side seam. Make sure to sew just inside the outer borderline that's already stitched on the blocks. That way, your seam won't be visible on the right side once it's turned out. Take your time here to line up the seams and match where the satin stitches meet for a nice, clean finish. Once that seam is done, open it out and press it flat with your iron. Then simply continue joining the rest of your panels in the same way until your runner is complete. If you notice any uneven edges, go ahead and trim around the perimeter so all the sides are even. Now, if you're planning to use a white fabric for your backing, here's an optional step you might like to try. Add a layer of calico or muslin to the back of your quilt. This extra layer helps conceal the seams and prevents the darker fabrics from showing through the white backing. To attach it, simply spray a light layer of temporary adhesive on the back of your work. Smooth the calico over it and trim it so it's exactly the same size as your runner. With the right side of your work facing up, stitch the calico in place using the original perimeter stitching line as your guide. This will not only secure it neatly, but it also gives you a clear seam allowance on the underside, ready for the next steps. Now it's time to cut the backing for your table runner. Before you start, measure the full length and width of your runner, and make sure to allow about an extra inch of fabric on each side. With those measurements, cut your piece of backing E to size and then cut that piece in half lengthwise. These two pieces will form the backing for your runner. Place the two pieces of backing E right sides together on your table. Pin along one edge and then stitch with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Be sure to leave a 6-inch gap in the middle of this seam, as that opening will be used later to turn the runner right side out. Once that seam is stitched, press it open. Next, place your sewn runner top right sides together with the backing fabric. Lightly pin them together to hold everything in place. Then, stitch all the way around with the 1/2 inch seam, keeping just inside the border stitching that's already there. When that's done, trim the seam allowances down to 1/4 inch and clip into the curves so the edges will sit nicely when turned. Now, carefully turn your runner right side out through the opening you left in the backing seam. To help the edges sit flat, run the point of a chopstick or a tool like the Expert Point and Press along the inside seams. Now give the whole piece a good firm press to flatten it out. Then close the opening in the backing seam by either hand stitching it shut or using a little fabric glue if you prefer. Finally, stitch in the ditch around your runner to secure everything in place. That's it. Your table runner is now complete. Enjoy.
Well, thank you so much for making it to the end of our so-long tutorial. I'm super excited about this month's design. We have the pumpkin theme and we also have the moth theme. I really do hope that you get amongst it and join our monthly so-long for September. If you haven't already joined our Facebook group, I highly recommend doing that because we have an awesome community of machine embroiderers all working on the same goal. We also run monthly competitions where you can win some cool prizes, and all you have to do is have fun and make one of these and post it on that Facebook group. Also, if you're new here, we do a 30% discount on our so-longs for the month that they're running, so the month of September. Our full fantasy runner will be 30% off. So jump on that over at swpea.com. So that's all for me this time. I'll see you next month for another beautiful Sweet Pea solo.